I've been for a while now trying to figure out how we're going to pay for all this spending, and how could anybody be for all this spending? The $871 billion over 10 years for health care. Come on, Nancy, bring it on. It's under $900 billion. There she is. Woo, that's a big picture of her. Under $900 billion. How do you pay for that? By the way, that's 10 years of paying for it, 5 years of coverage. You know, maybe their calculator is broken. Maybe they were all sick when they taught math every day in school. Maybe she believes in magic gnomes, riding a unicorn, riding in, paying off the debt. Or maybe they just think they can print more money. You know, when this money, I mean, we need more money, and just keep printing it over and over again. Maybe they all believe in Cloward and Piven, and they're intentionally trying to collapse the dollar. Oops, did I say that out loud? It doesn't matter, because you can't pay it off. You cannot pay this off, because that's not what it's going to cost. Look, we are worried about health care. I've had a problem in the hospital, what, 2 years ago? It stunk on ice. But this isn't going to fix it, because when we did the health care, this is our national debt. This is insane. $343,724. That's, every citizen owes that. How you getting a super neat job at, what, the 7-Eleven? How are you going to do that? We are setting up a situation where our kids will have nothing. The possibility now of a second stimulus, add more spending like health care, cap and trade. Some economists fear the dollar could collapse. Huh, well, do you even know what that means? The dollar could collapse? I do in theory, I do through history, but I called Charles Goyette. He is the author of The Dollar Meltdown. He broke it down for me. Here's what happens. If the dollar collapses, it doesn't mean just that the country goes broke. It's like dominoes. What falls first? How will it affect you? Well, when the dollar collapses, the first thing it knocks down is your house. If the dollar collapses, you'll see higher interest rates, which will ruin the housing recovery. Right now, 14 million homes are vacant. 16 million homeowners owe more in their mortgages than their houses are worth. Higher interest rates will make it worse and cost home buyers more, leaving less discretionary income. The purchase of cars, appliances, and other goods will slow because of the higher interest rates, credit card rates. You don't believe it can happen? It already is. Retail sales in the United States have fallen 10% since their peak in November 2007. Car sales dropped last month, down 35% after the cash for clunker thing ended. Imagine what higher interest rates would do. It knocks the next one down. Business. Slow consumer spending means business slowdown. Higher unemployment. It's a circle, man. It never stops. High unemployment, no wage growth, depresses the consumer spending, which means more unemployment. Economists are already forecasting slower holiday sales this year, and consumer credit has dropped by a record $118.8 billion since the peak of July 2008. Unemployment now is closing in at 10%, according to the government. The real rate may be higher. 7.2 million American jobs have been lost since the recession began in December 2007, the biggest decline since the Great Depression. That means tax revenues go down. The government is there. They need more. They want more social spending. All the spending will then widen the deficit because your tax revenue, you don't have a job. A year ago, the U.S. national deficit was $459 billion for the fiscal year that ended a couple of weeks ago. The deficit now has tripled, $1.4 trillion. So what do? They're out of money. They can't borrow anymore. You think China's going to keep on this never-ending circle and game? Of course not. So what happens next? The government falls. The government will have to pay higher interest rates to borrow the money it spends. Deficit will explode. The deficit becomes, the debt compounds at higher rates. The rate of federal spending grows faster than the economy grows, and that leads to more problems because the federal government becomes less creditworthy. Desperately looking for revenue, the government will try to raise taxes on homeowners, who you remember from before, don't have any money, which then sends the economy into a free fall. And then what? A choice. A choice. A choice. If the dollar collapses, do we go knocking at the door of the UN, begging to the world, just to save what we have on our TVs? Or do we turn to ourselves, the American people, our friends, our neighbors, our family? We are the ones who have been saying all along, stop the spending, no bailouts, stop printing money. But when that dollar collapses, it's like dominoes, and we are getting close to it. May I show you? I don't know how anybody at the White House confuses this show with journalism. We've got dominoes on a big map of the country. Here it is. Are you ready? The dollar is extraordinarily fragile. Extraordinarily fragile. You just knock it out by overspending, and the whole thing collapses. Your house, unemployment, then the government, then you're left with a choice. Are you ready? It's easy. All you do is just push one. Wow. Look at this. Can you get this, Harry? Look at this. One didn't fall. The question is, will it be the UN or will it be you? Do we rely on ourselves or do we rely on a global government? I am telling you now, there are going to be those who are going to try to make this thing and they're going to say, oh my gosh, it's an emergency, the dollar is collapsed, what do we do? Quick, let's run to the world, let's go, we've got to have some big organization save us. I'm telling you, they're going to say this to you at some point, maybe in 10 years, maybe, who knows? Who knows? Rely on yourself. For an in-depth look at the dollar and the domino theory, sign up for my free email newsletter at glennbeck.com, and special thanks to Domino Dan.